Hello there, I'm Liyana Hassanel and you're watching Nightline. News making the headlines. Transport Ministry to adopt public-private partnership to upgrade less busy airports. And thousands of Palestinians break into 8 warehouses in Gaza, desperate for basic necessities. Good morning. The Transport Ministry will adopt the Public-Private Partnership PPP model to upgrade airports in the country that are considered less competitive. Its Minister Anthony Loke said that he had discussed with Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad, MAHB, as the largest airport operator in the country, to look at the joint venture method, given the country's financial constraints. Loke pointed out that the methods used previously were not economical, especially for airports that don't have a lot of flights, adding that a PPP model between the private and public sector will allow for greater private participation in the delivery of projects. Commenting on the upgrading works of the Sultan Azlan Shah Airport, LTSAS terminal in Ipoh, Perak, Loke said he has received the application from the state government on the proposal to upgrade the airport. He added that there was interest from the private sector in PPP for LTSAS, but any proposals or suggestions must get approval from the MAHB. He also said that the state government had previously proposed to build a new airport in Sri Iskandar. However, the proposed construction of a new airport needs to be discussed with the National Physical Planning Council and PPC for its approval before it can proceed. Many of the complaints about sexual harassment received by welfare authorities have come from men. This was based on the reports of sexual harassment occurrences from 1,213 people, which were received by the Social Support Center of Yayasan Kebajikan Negara. Deputy Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Aiman Atira Sabu said 351 people, or 28.9% of those who filed reports with Centre, were male. Due to this, she pointed out that men should not take the issue lightly, as they are not immune to sexual harassment. Aiman said this when officiating the 13th series of her ministry's anti-sexual harassment roadshow in Kangar on Sunday. She added that sexual harassment at the workplace and at home were among the reports recorded. She also said that according to police statistics, a total of 477 cases of sexual harassment were reported in 2022, compared to 506 in 2021, and that the majority of victims were women. However, the actual number may be higher, as many incidences of sexual harassment are still not reported to the authorities. Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa has called for a national movement to combat excessive sugar intake, underlining the government's commitment to fostering a healthier society. She said her ministry is currently implementing a number of initiatives as part of its campaign to raise awareness and educate the public on reducing sugar consumption in their diet. According to Dr. Zaliha, one of the initiatives, dubbed the Reduce Sugar Campaign 2023, was among the ministry's efforts to encourage drink vendors in food courts throughout Putrajaya to restrict sugar in beverages to 1 teaspoon per order. She said this in a speech text read by the ministry's Deputy Secretary General, Datuk Zainal Al-Hakab Saman, before launching the campaign.
Peningkatan jumlah pesakit bakal memberi beban yang besar kepada ekonomi dan kewangan negara. Untuk makluman para hadirin, kos untuk rawatan penyakit diabetes saja mencecah RM 4.38 bilion setahun pada tahun 2017 berbanding dengan 2.04 bilion pada tahun 2011. Ini secara langsung turut memberi kesan kepada tahap produktiviti tenaga pekerja di dalam negara.
Dr. Zaliha also encouraged similar efforts nationwide, urging local authorities and various agencies, both governmental and non-governmental, to collaborate in intensifying the ministry's initiatives for a more significant impact. She added that Malaysians must also be aware of the food and drinks they consume, especially those that are ready cooked or ready packaged. Providing some examples, she highlighted that a 500 milliliter carbonated sweet drink contains up to 10 teaspoons of sugar. Similarly, a serving of teh tarik is estimated to include up to 10 teaspoons of sweetened cream, which equals approximately 5 teaspoons of sugar.
Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim launched the book Anwar Triumphs in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. The 195-page book, written by prominent criminal lawyer Mark Trowell KC from Australia, provides readers with an insightful account of Anwar's political journey since 25 years ago.
The book portrays the Prime Minister's remarkable journey, marked by victories over long-standing rivalries, political treachery, and bold initiatives to bolster the nation. The narrative culminates in the historic 15th general election hung parliament outcome and his ascension to the position of Malaysia's 10th Prime Minister. In his speech, Charles said the title of the book was not meant only to describe Anwar becoming Prime Minister, but also to capture the fulfillment of the Reformasi movement. He also said the Reformasi movement struggled over many years to overcome an authoritarian government that had been in power for more than 50 years. Also present at the launch was the Prime Minister's wife, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail.
Later in the day, Datuk Sri Anwar arrived in Singapore on Sunday night ahead of his two-day working visit in conjunction with the 10th Malaysia-Singapore Leaders Retreat that begins on Monday. The aircraft with the Prime Minister on board landed at the VIP complex of Changi International Airport at 10 p.m. Upon arrival, Anwar was received by Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir and Singapore's Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan. This is Anwar's third visit to Singapore after being sworn in as Malaysia's 10th Prime Minister in November last year. The Malaysia-Singapore Leaders Retreat is the highest-level bilateral mechanism between the two countries, hosted alternately since 2007. However, it has been postponed since 2019 due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Meanwhile, Zamri told the Malaysian media at a press conference earlier on Sunday that the visit was the first meeting between Anwar and Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in the framework Malaysia-Singapore Leaders Retreat. Both leaders are expected to discuss, among others, measures to improve connectivity, efforts to strengthen economic cooperation between the two countries, and exploring opportunities for cooperation in renewable energy.
Langkah-langkah yang akan kita laksanakan secara bersama ialah dalam konteks menambah baik lagi dari segi kesaling hubungan ataupun connectivity antara kedua negara, dan selain daripada itu juga kita turut melihat dalam konteks kerjasama ekonomi.
During his visit, Anwar is also scheduled to pay a courtesy call on Singapore's new president, Tharman Shanmugaratnam. The Prime Minister will also hold a 4-point meeting with his counterpart Lee, followed by the Malaysia-Singapore delegation meeting. Both Anwar and Lee will also witness the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding in the field of entrepreneurship and a side letter to improve the provisions in the agreement for the Malaysia-Singapore Third National Business Development Fund. Singapore is Malaysia's second largest trading partner. In 2022, the total trade between Malaysia and Singapore increased by 37.6% to 368.19 billion ringgit, compared to the trade value in the previous year.
After this breather, death toll from Hurricane Otis climbs to 39. Stay tuned. In the heart of Gaza, another distressing situation is unfolding as the Zionist regime intensifies its airstrikes on the besieged enclave, with one of the latest strikes occurring near its largest hospital. The increased atrocities is exacerbating an already dire humanitarian crisis as thousands of Palestinians, desperate for food and essential supplies, resort to breaking into 8 warehouses in the world's largest open-air prison, prompting the United Nations to warn that civil order is breaking down in Gaza after weeks of siege and bombardment. Amid the chaos, Palestinians also struggled to find loved ones as the growing humanitarian crisis squeezed Gaza, with people wounded by the Zionist bombings relying on volunteers to receive treatment. The situation has reached a critical point, with health ministry officials warning that at least 30 hospitals and health centers have been forced to shut down due to the damage from relentless airstrikes, which is focusing heavily on areas in northern Gaza, including Gaza City, where ground incursions by Israeli forces were taking place. Earlier, the Zionist regime announced that the next stage of its war with Hamas has begun after expanding its ground operations in the enclave. As of Saturday, the death toll in both Gaza as well as the West Bank have surged to over 8,000 people, with more than 20,242 others left injured. The death toll in Mexico has climbed to 39 on Saturday after Category 5 Hurricane Otis hit the country's Guerrero state earlier this week. Authorities said 29 men and 10 women were killed when the record-breaking storm brought powerful sustained winds of 266 kilometers per hour ashore near Acapulco. According to the Mexican government's preliminary damage assessment, the hurricane impacted over 220,000 homes, and 80% of the area's hotels were damaged. The devastation from Otis also left structures, including some high-rise buildings, in shambles, with exposed cinder blocks, scattered pieces of wood, and non-existent rooftops. An underestimation of the threat in early forecasts left residents and officials in southern Mexico with minimal time to prepare for Otis's severity. And within a mere 12 hours, Otis rapidly intensified from a tropical storm to the area's strongest storm on record. In other news, U.S. actor Matthew Perry, best known for playing wisecracking Chandler Bing in a hit 90s TV sitcom, has died on Saturday at the age of 54. The death was confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division when Perry was found at his Pacific Palisades home after an apparent drowning. The cause of death, however, has yet to be determined, but there was no indication of foul play. Perry most notably rose to fame for starring in the 90s hit comedy series Friends as Chandler Bing, one of 6 best friends living together in New York City. Despite his success, Perry struggled with addiction behind the scenes, seeking treatment in 1997 and 2001. And in 2019, Perry had a near-death experience after his colon burst due to opioid overuse, but survived the surgery. Welcome back. Sports football, the 2023 Super League. Sri Pahang FC mounted a remarkable comeback from a 2-goal deficit to secure a 2-2 draw against Terengganu FC at the Darul Makmur Stadium on Sunday night. The first 20 minutes of the match were goalless, but Terengganu managed to break the deadlock in the 25th minute thanks to a goal by David Nazari. Terengganu extended their lead as Nazari once again found the back of the net in the 71st minute. Despite being down by 2 goals, Sri Pahang fought back as Rafael Silva scored the first goal for the home team in the 78th minute, followed by the equaliser from the team's captain Sergio Aguero just 2 minutes later. The draw undoubtedly brought relief to the home team as they maintain their focus on securing a top 5 finish in the upcoming matches. On to golf. Celine Boutier of France outlasted Thailand's Atthaya Titiku in a playoff that tied for the second longest in LPGA Tour history, securing her 4th tour victory of the season at the Maybank Championship Open on Sunday.
Overcoming a 1-stroke deficit on the final day, Boutier claimed an LPGA Tour victory after they traded nail-biting sequences in a record-equaling playoff that was held in the 18th and 15th holes. It took a birdie from Boutier on the playoff's 9th extra hole to see off Titiku and claim the winner's check of $450,000 US. Boutier has already won at the LPGA Drive-On Championship, the Women's Scottish Open, and also her maiden major at the Evian Championship in her homeland. Meanwhile, American rookie sensation Rose Zhang tied for 3rd at 19 under 269 after 1 under 71 with Thailand's halfway leader Jasmine Suwarnapura. Natasha Andrea Un, in the meantime, emerged as the best Malaysian finisher in the 52nd spot after 1 under 71 for a 4-day total of 3 under 285. The prizes were presented by Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al Mustafa Billah Shah.
After a 4-year hiatus, the 2023 LPGA Maybank Championships lowered its curtains on Sunday with a near-record-breaking playoff rounds. Celine Boutier finally beat all the odds to take home the trophy and $450,000 US cash prize. Let's hope next year's edition will bring more renowned golfers to take part in this prestigious event. Nurin Razmin for Nightline, TV3.
On to rugby, the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Defending champions South Africa kicked their way to a record 4th title by beating New Zealand 12-11 on Saturday.
Fly half Andre Pollard scored all the points for Springboks side, which repeated their 1995 success over New Zealand and denied the All Blacks their own chance to win a 4th title in their record 5th final. In Saturday's 106th showdown, South Africa's Bongi Mbonambi suffered a nightmare start to the match as a knee injury forced the hooker off after only 4 minutes. New Zealand's Shannon Frizzell was then shown a yellow card for causing Mbonambi's injury, but worse was to come for the All Blacks when captain Sam Cane was sent off for a dangerous tackle on the Springboks' Jesse Creel, and South Africa led 12-6 at half-time. Bowden Barrett tried to pull New Zealand back to within 1 point of their rivals, but the All Blacks couldn't find anything more, and they went down 12-11 as the Springboks retained their crown, keeping the trophy in the Southern Hemisphere for a 5th straight tournament.
R. Kumareswaran is the reigning Mr. Malaysia, but few know of his struggles with obesity in his younger days. Danish Rajareza and Frankie de Cruz uncover how Kumareswaran went from flab to fab.
Looking at R. Kumareswaran, it's hard to imagine he ever had a confidence problem. But confidence was in short supply for a young Kumareswaran. At 15, he weighed 110 kilograms as the result of eating up to 6,000 calories of junk every day. That's equivalent to eating 20 roti canais.
The whole school used to call me a fatty, and I was known as a fat kid, and I was very fat, and to the point where I had man boobs, and I feel so embarrassed that sometimes I cannot wear a white t-shirt or anything. I used to put a masking tape around and cover it up because of feeling very insecure.
One day, Kumareswaran decided that enough was enough.
But at one point when I felt like this is it, I just stopped everything overnight. I stopped everything and I just started doing what was necessary, because I liked food, but more than that I liked the physique. So I had to weigh which one I wanted. And
he began a strict and grueling fitness regime, losing weight and gaining confidence in the process. There was no going back. The accounting student continued sculpting his physique and even scored junior titles in several bodybuilding competitions.
I give myself 2 years in this industry, the fitness industry. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe I'll go back to what I'm supposed to do be an accountant. So then I just tried and I started winning shows, and then from there one lead to the other, then I ended up opening a gym, and now I'm a full-time bodybuilder.
Today, the 38-year-old bodybuilder consumes between 2,800 and 4,000 calories a day from the 6 meals he prepares himself during the bulking and cutting phases. His diet consists of brown rice, oats, vegetables, chicken, eggs, fish, and beef. But the true source of Kumareswaran's strength isn't his diet, but his family.
They are very supportive because they can those close, they can see the effort and the sacrifices made also, and most of them are very proud of it, and so I'm very blessed that way.
Kumareswaran's hard work has paid off. Just last week, he won the Mr. Malaysia 2023 title. So what's next for Mr. Malaysia? More training, of course. Kumareswaran will compete in the World Bodybuilding and Physique Championships in South Korea next month, and he has his eye on the prize.
Every time I go, I want to win. I want to win. I mean, that's my goal.
Danish Rajareza and Frankie De Cruz, FMT for Nightline.
When we return, storm rips rooftops off homes in Kedah. Don't go away.
Nomor 1.
Nomor 1. In Kedah, a number of homes in Kubang Pasu were damaged, with the rooftops being ripped away by a land spout when a massive storm hit the district on Sunday. The meteorological phenomenon occurred at approximately 3:30 p.m. and lasted about 15 minutes. Kubang Pasu Malaysian Civil Defence Force APM officer Muhammad Adenin Suhaimi confirmed that the land spout affected an area with a radius of approximately 2 kilometers. He also said that the APM received several reports from the public shortly after the incident, which affected Kampung Pida 3 and Pida 4 Baru. He added that the Kubang Pasu District Operational Control Center, PKOD, is taking action, including monitoring and assisting in the cleanup of the affected areas. No injuries were reported, and the affected residents have been advised to report any property damage to the police. So far, the total number of damaged properties has yet to be confirmed. Meanwhile,
40-year-old lorry workshop owner Marwan Qasim managed to capture the harrowing event on video as the landspout destroyed one house after another in Kampung Pida 2 in Manggol Bongor. He revealed that at least 10 houses in the village were damaged during the freak weather, but was relieved that his house was spared. He said that the landspout also wreaked havoc on his workshop near the village, causing significant damage by destroying the roof, lorry pots, and 3 canopy tents, resulting in approximately 40,000 ringgit in losses. State Malaysia Meteorological Department Met Malaysia Director Khalil Abdul Aziz explained that the weather patterns occurring during the monsoon transition period brewed up the storm and landspout. He also said such a phenomenon could happen again within the monsoon transition period, which persisted between September and November.
Now, the APM has identified 4 areas in Kedah at risk of flooding due to high tides that are predicted to occur for 3 days starting Sunday. State APM Director Lieutenant Colonel Zairil Anwar Zulmuji said among the areas identified are the coast of Kuala Kedah, Kota Kuala Muda, Kuala Yan and Kuala Jerlun.
Kalau hari ini adalah 12.47 pagi dan pada hari Isnin 30 Oktober jangkaannya pada pukul 1.16 pagi dan juga pada 31 Oktober adalah 1.45 pagi. Kali ini jangkaannya ombak akan meningkat sehingga 3 meter. Paras air pasang itu sehingga 3 meter dan ombak akan lebih tinggi daripada itulah.
Zairil said the phenomenon could cause flooding in low-lying areas if there is heavy rain. He also called on residents and those conducting recreational activities along the coastal areas to be careful with changes in the sea level in their respective areas. He added that his team was prepared for any eventuality and was monitoring the areas at risk around the clock and will take appropriate action if the situation endangers the public.
Also in Kedah, a 74-year-old man was crushed to death after a tree fell on his car at Kampung Bukit Payong in Pokok Sena on Sunday. In the 3 p.m. incident, strong winds accompanying heavy rain uprooted the tree, causing it to crash onto the driver's side of the car.
Pokok Sena Fire and Rescue Department officer Shahrin Musa said that the department's rescue team was immediately dispatched to the scene after receiving a distress call. Upon arrival, the team found the senior citizen pinned inside the vehicle and had to use specialized equipment and a bulldozer to extricate the victim. However, the victim, identified as Oi Bun Kak, was confirmed dead at the scene by Health Ministry officers. His remains were handed over to the police for further action. The firemen then conducted tree-cutting operations to clear out the road using a chainsaw, which were completed by 5 p.m.
As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at the 4th Asian Para Games closing ceremony, featuring a remarkable showcase of tech-backed artistic performances, many of which were skillfully executed by talented actors with disabilities. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.